This is a piece of reporting that aired on CNN from international correspondent Clarissa Ward. And this is really shocking video of southern Gaza. This is Clarissa visiting a field hospital in the region that people were told to evacuate to. There's no graphic violence in this footage. We can't show that stuff here, but it is emotionally very intense, and this is really amazing to see this on a corporate media outlet. CNN has done this from time to time. They did a segment on the new Nakba where they really show what it actually means to evacuate from north to south, right? Because if you listen to the guy like Mark Regev, he'd say it's a relatively simple process to evacuate from north to south. But CNN has done a couple of these over the course of this war, and this is a pretty amazing segment. So let's take a look.
You don't have to search for tragedy in Gaza. It finds you on every street, strewn with trash and stagnant water, desolate and foreboding.
So we've just crossed the border into southern Gaza. This is the first time we've actually been able to get into Gaza since October 7th, and we are now driving to a field hospital that has been set up by the UAE.
Up until now, Israel and Egypt have made access for international journalists next to impossible, and you can see why.
Since October 7th, the Israeli military says it has hit Gaza with more than 22,000 strikes. That by far surpasses anything we've seen in modern warfare in terms of intensity and ferocity, and we really, honestly, are just getting a glimpse of it here.
22,000 strikes. I want to do some just quick, simple math here. I didn't think to do this before the show. What is this war gone on? Roughly, 68 days, we'll say, October 7th to December 15th. 22,000 divided by 68. 323 strikes per day. Divided by 24, 13 strikes per hour. A strike less than every 5 minutes. Think about that.
Yeah,
less than 5 minutes apart for 2.5 months straight.
Yeah, there was also an article that dropped the last couple days about how they're mostly using dumb bombs, meaning bombs that are indiscriminate.
Right. Yeah.
Despite Israel's heavy bombardment, there are people out on the streets. A crowd outside a bakery. Where else can they go? Nowhere is safe in Gaza.
Used to be a stadium.
Arriving at the Emirati field hospital, we meet Dr. Abdullah Al-Nakbi. No sooner does our tour begin when
Our ambulance. That's a real life.
And this is what you hear all the time now?
Yes. At least.
Just walking through, another bomb goes off. The guy doesn't move a muscle, doesn't faze him at all.
Yeah.
He says, this happens every few minutes. Incredible.
20 times a day.
20 times a day.
20 times a day.
Maybe more sometimes. But I think we get used to it.
Get used to it. How do they know that's not going to hit them? They don't know that.
Right? No, they don't.
They don't know that.
No, they could get hit any second.
Yeah. Yep.
thing none of the doctors here have got used to is the number of children they are treating. The UN estimates that some 2/3 of those killed in this round of the conflict have been women and children. 8-year-old Janan was lucky enough to survive a strike on her family home that crushed her femur but spared her immediate family. She says she's not in pain, so that's good. Her mother, Hiba, was out when it happened. I went to the hospital to look for her, she says, and I came here and I found her here. The doctors told me what happened with her, and I made sure that she's okay. Thank God. They bombed the house in front of us and then our home, Janan tells us. I was sitting next to my grandfather, and my grandfather held me, and my uncle was fine. So he is the one who took us out. But But Dr. Ahmed Al-Mazraoui says it is hard not to.
I work with old people, like adults, but with children, something touching your heart.
Touches your heart and tests your faith in humanity. As we leave Jenin, Dr. Al-Nakbi comes back with the news of casualties arriving from the strike just 10 minutes earlier.
We just got a stable send right now 2 amputated young male from the bomb.
From the Qasf we just heard, from the bomb we just heard?
This is my understanding.
Okay.
All right. Now, that's all we can show you because the next shot is people, as he just said, amputees being wheeled in with their legs blown off just from the strike that they heard or that they got on camera. When they walked into the hospital, when they first walked inside, you heard boom. They said, what's that? He says that happens about 20 times a day, sometimes more. And then they filmed that little segment there. And then a few minutes later, the guy comes in. Hey, there's people who have been injured who are going to come rushing in to the field hospital now. Who were injured in that explosion that they caught on camera. Right. And so that whole segment's about 9 minutes. It's on Twitter. I'll tweet out. I thought I tweeted out the whole segment. If not, I will after the show. You should go watch it. That's all we could show you here in East Berlin. But yeah, just an incredible segment. And, you know, CNN has done that from time to time. And as Russell said earlier in the stream, it's amazing to see that airing on the corporate airwaves. That's how you know there's been a change in narrative and a change in the way the population, our population, is expected to process what's happening.
Yeah, and if you present that to Zionists, they're going to tell you that the media is biased against Israel.
Right, yeah, exactly.
And they're going to tell you that these are crisis actors and that Hamas is only showing you what they want you to see. And that they led around the CNN people. Apparently, this is the first CNN crew that was allowed in without the IDF, that was allowed to just go cover it on their own.
Well, if you notice, one of the first things she said was, we haven't been allowed in Gaza, and now we know why. That was one of the first things she says in the segment. Yep.
This is remarkable to see this kind of critical coverage of Israel. And I think it is partly that the times have changed. It keeps reminding me of one of my favorite movies is with Peter O'Toole. It's called The Ruling Class. And he's this British aristocrat that went off and lived on a commune. So he's kind of gone off the reservation. And he comes back because his father dies. He has to take his seat in the House of Lords. And they ask him, they say, oh, the British Empire. He says, oh, yes, you can't kick the natives in the back streets of Calcutta anymore.
Right.
That I keep thinking of that when I look at the way that Israel and Zionists are trying to spin this. It's like British people trying to defend the British Empire circa 1970. It just doesn't play anymore. You can't get away with this anymore. It is the whole world is watching has never been more true in a world of social media, in a world where people are all able to see what Israel is actually doing. And even their usual reliable narrative managers in the mainstream media just are not going along with it. There's another article that just came out from CNN, but I think AP covered this story too. We'll probably do it on Sunday. These Israeli soldiers are so used to having impunity, and they're so sick in their minds. They're posting videos of themselves attacking food supplies, burning food in Gaza, going through the underwear drawer of an Arab woman and humiliating her, breaking stuff in a shop for no reason whatsoever, no military reason at all. You're really seeing the true face of the Israeli state. And it's cold comfort to the Palestinians, but Israel is never going to be viewed the same way again after this. It's never going to be able to credibly present itself as a member in good standing of the international community.
Please clap.